Fisherfast here. In this video, I want to do something a little bit different. I have a few requests from people in regards to a in-car driving video that are actually from out of state that wouldn't be able to come in to see the car prior to purchasing. So they want an idea of what the car is actually like to drive on the road and how it sounds inside. So I just want to do a little video of me driving the car, show you some acceleration and how the exhaust sounds, as well as changing through some of the transmission modes as well. So buckle up and we'll take a little drive here and let you hear how the car sounds and show you the car on the road. Before we set off, of course, our first stop is going to be to get some gas here first thing in the morning. What's the gas prices like in your area compared to here? It's about almost $4.50 a gallon. It's a little under that right now, but see you in a minute. As you can see, just a regular driving, day-to-day traffic, that type of scenario. The car behaves just like stock. You can just hear the exhaust a little bit louder. Even when driving this calmly, the exhaust stays quiet until you put your foot down, which I love. It's not loud and raw all the time, so it's just kind of loud when you want it to be, and that's when you really put your foot down and get into it. As far as driving modes, which one do I recommend and like? For normal driving, I like the suspension just in the regular lowest height. Occasionally, I'll put in ABC Sport for, I said, just day-to-day driving, but my favorite is the ABC Sport on and in the lowest setting. That's going to give you the most planted and body-controlled ride that you can get, but you do get a little more firmness out of it, so you feel a little more of the bumps in the road, the expansion joints in the pavement, and going over imperfections in the road. You feel more in the car. It's not dramatically different, but it definitely helps control the body roll a lot more with the ABC Sport on. And the transmission, I just like to leave it in the sport mode. That's going to give you decent shifts without being too aggressive, just for normal driving and traffic and stuff. And then once we get onto the highway, I'll put it into the agility mode. That's going to give you the fastest and firmest shifts. And agility mode is more akin to Sports Plus on the newer AMGs. So it's just going to be a pumped up version of the sport button for the transmission. highway speeds, we're turning about 2,000 RPM, and you'll hear the a testament to the hydraulic ABC suspension in these cars. And just how well they work when they're working well, if that makes sense. And I understand a lot of people do like to delete or get rid of the ABC suspension just due to cost, because they think they're making the car more reliable, but it really ruins the ride quality, kind of the magic of the ESL, as I've driven both one with coilovers before. And it's not anything like driving a car with a properly functioning ABC suspension. Do a little roll acceleration here. Just don't sound like that, I'll tell you what. That just puts a smile on my face at least. So like I said, you have the loud when you want it, and then the quiet when you want it. So it's kind of the best of both worlds without having to be involved with exhaust. It's really set out the way to give you both the best worlds. I have a nice flat place here. We can test some acceleration from a standstill. Torque in this car is just so immense from any RPM. I mean, that's why I love supercharged cars compared to turbo or NA cars. Combines the best of both of those together. I mean, right off the rip, you get that full 700 foot-pounds of torque. There's no turbo lag. Nothing, you're not waiting for anything to spool up. Even with the best turbo cars, you're still going to have a spool up from the turbos. Whenever you put your foot on the gas, instead of getting the full immediate torque, you're going to have a delay anywhere from a few hundred RPM all the way up to 1,500 in some cases when the turbos are really large. So it's nice to have that immediate power, like I said, for any RPM range. It just makes doing anything, whether you're just driving regularly, trying to pass someone, or you want the full balls of the wall experience, like back there, just really letting it rip. It throws you back in the seat immediately. You're not waiting for, like I said, anything to spool up. So right now we're in ABC Sport. I'll take that off. We got a nice, comfortable ride here, obviously. Just cruising along doing highway speeds. The car is very happy to do that, just as well as it is, balls to the wall, full throttle. If you want to be even more comfortable, you can raise the suspension up on height setting. It's going to raise it up by 3/4 of an inch. It's going to blunt the impacts of the roads even further, make it more cushioned. You do get more body roll, but if you're driving primarily in a straight line like this, it just makes the car a little more comfortable to drive. One of the reasons why I do all the preventive maintenance and kind of restoration work on the car along with the performance mods is this thing drives so nicely. I mean, your inputs to the steering wheel are just immediate, and that's due in part a lot to all the new suspension parts on here. A lot of times on the older cars, if you buy one that has low mileage, you think you're getting a perfect car, even if it's stock. Sometimes that's not the case, because you have to remember there's a lot of rubber components in the suspension that wear out with age, not necessarily driving. It's that rubber gets hard and starts to crack, even if it's, like I said, a low mileage car, and that'll really affect the handling and how the car responds to your inputs. So replacing all those critical suspension components with new ones makes the car drive just gives you a little more slip of the tires if you just floor it from a drop, but it still manages it very well. If you were to turn off traction control completely and try to floor it, you'd just be doing a burnout, obviously, which is fun to do sometimes. If you want to do that, there's nothing wrong with that. But it definitely keeps it safer leaving it traction control on and just going to that agility mode. But if you want to shred the tires, turn the traction control off, you can do that very easily as well. Let's see about that acceleration one more time. What does this car feel like compared to another modern car? I'd probably lean towards a Hellcat experience because it has very similar theatrics, sound, and the way that it puts the power down is very similar to how this car is now. It gives you that same raw, vicious, brutal, instant acceleration. Also the theatrics, slipping the tires on, you gotta focus while you're driving. It's a funny driving experience. And I really coined this as the OG German Hellcat. It's very similar. Like I said, in the power delivery, power plant. That one does have a bigger engine. I think that's a 6.2 liter supercharged V8. This is a 5.4. And compared to a stock Hellcat on a dyno, they're roughly about the similar power. So you're getting the power from a Hellcat in a German Mercedes with a hardtop convertible. Plus the styling is obviously better. I feel the handling is much better, especially with the suspension working properly. SL and this platform in general from this era is, I wouldn't compare it to an analog driving experience per se, but compared to a newer SL, it does feel quite analog in that regards, because the newer cars, while they're very fast, they're built extremely well. I'm not knocking it for anything like that. They're missing the kind of characteristic and soul that this type of car has, especially when modified. The newer SLs just feel so clinical because they're built, like I said again, so well that you lose some of that theatrics and the driving experience that the older SLs provide. Is that those new cars are just, as again, I'll say it again, just very clinical feeling, and that's the best way I can describe them, is it's so well built. It doesn't take any effort to concentration to drive those type of cars in a rowdy way. With this one, you have to kind of focus on your driving, and it just feels like a completely different experience to just and as amazing as the car sounds inside under roller acceleration, it sounds just as good, if not better, outside the car as well. You get that very loud supercharger whine under heavy low acceleration that you hear outside of the car first. If you were standing on the side of the road or you're passing someone, you hear the blower up front, and then as you pass them, you get that wailing exhaust coming by, following up. I'll throw in a video clip of a very similar spec car and exhaust system that I did a couple of years ago on a red SL. You can hear the supercharger whine and then the exhaust fly by as well. So I'll throw that in here. really love the interior work that the previous owner did on this car as well. It's not just visually stimulating, but it also is functional as well, because it really does hold you in place a lot better than the standard seats do with the Alcantara in the middle of the seats here. So if you're really flogging the car, going around some twisties, the Alcantara holds you in place a lot better. And also the extra bolstering that you put in as well really hugs your body well. So for reference, I'm 6 foot, about 190 pounds, and I fit perfectly in these seats. And if you were a little smaller, I think you fit just as well. Now we can put it into the manual transmission mode, so you the paddles away. So here we are back at the garage. I appreciate you watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed this different style of video. I also hope that it satisfied the requests for what the car feels like when driving, in the event that you can't come in to physically drive the car prior to purchasing. But I hope this gives you a better idea of what the car actually feels like to drive and what it sounds like to drive. So if you have any other questions on this beautiful SL, please do reach out to me at fisherfast@hotmail.com. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.